really appreciate you taking a little bit of time this afternoon with busy schedules to learn more about the Energy Star Home Upgrade and the service provider partnership. So next slide, please. We thought we would kick things off quickly by just talking a little bit about the learning objectives that we want to accomplish on today's call. As Seth noted, I'm joined by my colleague Danielle. So she and I will essentially run through these items that you see on your screen here. First, we'll give you kind of a quick overview, one, of the Energy Star program, two, of the Energy Star Home Upgrade, then our service provider partnership. Then we'll do a quick walkthrough of a really new and exciting tool that we're excited about, the Energy Star Home Savings Tool. Our goal today is to help you understand why these resources and these initiatives are important for your programs and how you can start to leverage these efforts, and then also start to understand how these are aligned with federal incentives like tax credits, state programs, and how Energy Star is planning to and has already started to help you communicate this information to homeowners. So with that being said, next slide. And we can jump to the next. Thank you, Seth. So I know a lot of folks on the phone are partners of Energy Star, stakeholders of Energy Star. So this is likely information that's not really needed on this kind of a call, but just a quick recap, quick overview in case folks are looking for this some type of information like this. So basically, the Energy Star program, the Energy Star label, is the government-backed symbol for efficiency. Label is used to identify highly efficient products, homes, and buildings. And our goal at Energy Star is to provide simple, credible, unbiased information that both consumers and businesses can use to make better choices. And so you can see on this slide, we've got more than 75 categories on the product side of things. On the multifamily, manufactured, and single family new home side, we've got specifications across those categories, and then multiple sectors and buildings type across commercial and industrial. One quick item I'll note here that's we think really valuable and important is that to earn the label, we require third-party certification in all of these categories. Next slide. One of the other really important considerations is the value of Energy Star. Again, I know I'm likely preaching to the choir here a little bit, but just a couple of examples in terms of how valuable and beneficial that Energy Star label can be. So first is this J.D. Power customer satisfaction study that found that Energy Star partners increased significantly in terms of their customer satisfaction scores over time compared to non-partners. And then the other is an A/B testing study that we did with one of our utility partners, showing that the Energy Star logo on ads actually drove a 60% increase in click-through rates. So just a couple of examples that we wanted to give. Again, most folks obviously very familiar with the Energy Star program, with the Energy Star label, but we think these are really powerful and compelling examples of how it's helpful for our partners, for our stakeholders, and how valuable consumers find it in this space as well. Next slide, please. So next couple of slides, basically just wanted to talk about Energy Star in the existing home space and provide a little bit of context before we kind of get into the details about what the Energy Star Home Upgrade is. Just a little bit of context around how we came to develop this particular platform and this particular resource. So obviously a couple of years ago, as the Inflation Reduction Act was coming to life and we were starting to think about tax credits and state rebate programs, we started to think about the challenge that this might present and how Energy Star could help support in this space. And so you can see the challenge that we were thinking about here, right? We wanted to be able to address the barriers that existed in current programs, in the current market structure, but be able to support the industry and grow the market to engage consumers to take action. That is obviously our end goal here. And so the new approach that we took was to create this type of a scalable, flexible marketing platform. And you may hear me use those words more than once during this presentation, so apologies in advance for that. But we do want to be clear that we see this as a platform not necessarily a program structure, because we want this to be both scalable and flexible. That is kind of driving the majority of the decisions and the goals that we have with the Energy Star home upgrade. And part of that rationale is that we want to be able to support both existing programs and new programs that might be coming online. And so again, the Energy Star home upgrade is this platform that can be overlaid on top of what our current partners and stakeholders may have in place, or it can be used as kind of a defined platform for new partners that may be bringing new programs to market. And again, one of the big benefits that we see is that it allows access to those benefits of Energy Star recognition, right? So we just talked a little bit about the value and the brand recognition and the power that Energy Star has on the consumer front. And so we wanted to create this platform that allows and takes a more comprehensive approach compared to some of the promotional and campaign activities that we've had in the past. Lastly, we wanted to ensure that we could, and you all could, take this and run with it as a national message. We wanted to reduce any of the associated barriers with region-specific programs and ensure that all of our partners and stakeholders across the country could leverage Energy Star from a national perspective. Next slide, please. So this is just a quick visual that we've used in a number of different presentations. Some of you may have seen this already. This is based on an NREL study that came out a few years ago, and basically was looking at the number of upgrades that will be needed, looking at single-family detached homes in the US in order for us to efficiently decarbonize existing homes by 2050. And so you can see, and we're looking here at air source heat pumps, heat pump water heaters, windows, and attic insulation in particular. And you can see the number of homes that require these upgrades is substantial. And so we need to accelerate the rate at which we're getting these products into homes, at which we're working with organizations like contractors and installers and service providers to get these products into people's homes. And so we just like to use this as a visual to show the work that's needed, and again, to set some of the context for why we're excited about the Energy Star home upgrade. Next slide, please. So when we were thinking about a potential platform and program that could be valuable and useful in this space, we kind of looked at it and identified kind of a couple different buckets in terms of barriers. So we were looking at the information barrier, cost barrier, and that transactional barrier, excuse me. And basically our goal, our attempt was to try to figure out if we could develop something that would allow us to address each of these barriers, right? We want to be able to answer the questions that are kind of below each of the squares that are here so that we can get to the point of widespread, efficient decarbonization of US homes. Now, we recognize that we can't do that alone, and we're going to explain how we plan to engage with our partner and stakeholder base to do that. But this is a good visual, a good example, we think, of kind of the barriers that we see in the marketplace. And then on the next slide, so Seth, you can jump to the next slide. We can take a look at how we think Energy Star can help support some of these barriers. Some of these things are items that we're doing already, and Danielle in a minute will talk about some of the ways that we're moving forward to bring some new ideas to the market. But first, these 4 items here. So how is Energy Star addressing some of the barriers that I just mentioned on that previous slide? So first is that credible, recognized designation for the energy efficient option, right? So being able to tell consumers to look for the Energy Star instead of having to explain efficiency metrics. So for example, like SEER and HSPF2 for consumers that certainly aren't as familiar with that as we are working in this space on a day-to-day basis. We also can help define the criteria and the standards through our specification development process. And then alongside that, providing those marketing tools and campaigns to help educate consumers. And then finally, we want to bring our stakeholder base into this process and leverage those that are working directly with folks, with homeowners, to help spread the word. Energy Star really only works and is only successful if our partners and stakeholders can help us amplify the messaging. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that.
My name is Danielle Hofer. I work along with Dan at the EPA on the Energy Star Home Upgrade. As Dan had said previously, the home upgrade is a very flexible, scalable approach that's basically the set of 6 generally applicable electric energy efficient improvements designed to work together on these existing homes to really deliver significant energy and cost savings. So basically, your home energy use or energy consumption is covered, 70% of which is covered by the home upgrade. So 50% or more of your home energy consumption is from space heating and cooling, and another 20% is from water heating. So these 6 upgrades working together covers a lot of a home energy use. So you can save quite a bit on cost and energy. So this is why we have a huge focus on clean heating and cooling and super efficient water heaters in the Energy Star Home Upgrade. And what we mean by that is heat pump technology. So air source heat pumps, heat pump water heaters, things like that. These products are efficient, electric, and there's a growing contractor base that can help homeowners get these products installed. We also include the smart climate controls, your smart thermostats that can help ensure homeowners save money and stay comfortable in their homes. We also have a focus on weatherization, specifically with attic insulation and windows. Attic insulation offers significant savings opportunities and is a really good intro to consumers on getting their house insulated because you don't have to rip out walls or anything like that. So it's a much more manageable process that still saves you quite a bit of money. And then for windows, we understand that they can be very expensive, and we do include storm windows in that set of upgrades, as it can be cheaper and easier to do than replacing a full window. Finally, by providing information on getting the home ready for new electric equipment, we can help homeowners that are looking towards the future, as many people do not have fully electric homes at this point, but a lot of the most efficient equipment that we're moving towards is electric. So we want to make sure that the house has the capacity and the wiring to make sure that we can transition to a fully electric equipment as we move forward. This is a very flexible platform and framework, as Dan has said. So it really is focusing on helping homeowners transition to a cleaner, healthier, and more comfortable home. What we're doing is trying to get consumers to think ahead on what needs to be replaced. So as we said, it's flexible. We're not asking that all of these get replaced in every home at the same time. We want consumers to think ahead before equipment fails. So even if you have an electric water heater right now, you're not going to a brand new one, you're not going to go out and replace it, but you can think about how you would want a heat pump and look toward it so it's not an emergency replacement. And that also kind of goes hand in hand with tax credits from the Inflation Reduction Act, which we'll talk about later today, where it could work in people's favor to do one upgrade at a time. Others, you can do multiple upgrades at the same time. It is up to the homeowner and the organization helping them make these upgrades. Next slide. Thank you, Seth. So one of the things that we've created along with the home upgrade is this web tool that is a one-stop shop for consumers to navigate the upgrade process. So it provides information on the benefits of each potential upgrade and what to think about when looking at them. You can find certified models, calculate potential savings, learn about the rebates and other incentives that are available to help bring down that cost. You can find specific equipment manufacturers and service providers, especially what we're talking about in a little bit. And it really just acts as this home for consumers to come and learn what Energy Star um, information they could provide. Now, there are a few important components that we feel are worth highlighting here. First, Energy Star Home Upgrade will, as much as possible, provide a direct link to options and contractors for a consumer, including the service provider partners. While it is certainly important to raise awareness and educate consumers on the benefits of these products, we do want to ensure that the consumer has the information needed to take the next step, whether it's purchase at retail or an informed conversation with a contractor, whatever it is that they're ready for. Next slide, please. Oh, there we go. Also, Energy Star Home Upgrade will utilize the power and recognition of the Energy Star brand in aiding the product selection. For example, rather than having to explain what SEER or HSPF is to a consumer, a contractor, or other partner could simply highlight the product as efficient due to the Energy Star certification. This helps ensure the customer and program implementer have confidence in savings. Finally, by providing the consumer with information on rebates and incentives, Energy Star Home Upgrade makes it easier to understand how the upfront cost can be reduced. So we really see the home upgrade as a marketing platform, a framework for the tax incentives and other incentives, including the rebates associated with the Inflation Reduction Act and states, and utility incentives as well. And we are looking at the home upgrade as a mechanism for addressing energy inequality in existing homes. So we are bolstering our support through site-specific utility investments, as well as helping our service provider partners and others take advantage of what's out there that helps them target and really help low-income customers. So go ahead on to the next slide. Thank you. So this goes over briefly what the Inflation Reduction Act crosses over to with the home upgrade. So as you'll see, the federal tax credits cover 5 of the 6 measures in the home upgrade. I think the only thing not included is the smart thermostat. So it can cover up to $3,200 a year, and it is available now, which is fantastic. We are also very excited for the state and tribe rebate programs to be coming online, with New York, the first one that just came online. So with the high efficiency electric home rebate that is targeted specifically at low and moderate income, it does cover 4 of the 6 measures and could cover the entire cost of the project for low income. We also have the homeowner managing energy savings that can cover up to 50% of the project cost or 80% for low income. And we have done modeling for the home upgrade, and it shows that most of our measures do save well over 20% energy costs for homes. Go ahead on to the next slide. And with that, I'm going to transition to our service provider partnership, which the full name is, of course, a mouthful, with the Energy Star Home Upgrade Service Provider Partnership. Now, this program, this partnership is part of the Energy Star program, where we are looking to partner with companies and community-based organizations who function as a trusted concierge for energy efficient home upgrade services and provide robust consumer protections. Now, this means we are not looking for people who or organizations who only do one measure, who only put in HVAC. We're looking for organizations that are able to work with a customer to determine multiple of our measures, what applies to the house and what's going to make the biggest difference, and the timing wise as to when it will need to be done or replaced. With this, we do want to accelerate the adoption of the Energy Star home upgrades, and that presents an opportunity to Americans to confidently lower energy bills and improve home comfort and health. Can go on to the next, please. Thank you. All right, so with this, I'm going to go over a little bit of the requirements for this partnership. As I said, a big requirement is that you have to provide multiple of these services. And I will say, of the following services, you have to be able to provide customers the options for heat pumps for space heating and cooling, heat pump water heaters, attic insulation, windows, and whole home electric ready. So you'll notice that smart thermostats isn't included in this. We think of it as kind of a subcategory to the HVAC space. So we are not looking for single measure contractors, the typical, HVAC contractor that will do an air source heat pump and a smart thermostat. That's not who we're looking for. We're looking for someone who perhaps does attic insulation plus the heat pump for space heating and cooling, and maybe on top of that, a heat pump water heater. So we require 2 or more of those 5 measures out of the 6 because we consider the smart thermostat kind of a subcategory. We also require participation, the qualified installers, a quality management system, excuse me, any offered financing is transparent and not considered unfair or abusive. So basically, we just want to make sure that the customer is going to have a great experience, get the energy savings that they can from the system, that it's put in correctly. They have an ability to make changes or have their complaints heard if something isn't done right in the first place. And we want to make sure that they know what they're getting into. If we go to the next slide, please. All right. So as our press release had included, we do have 6 charter partners who have already signed on. These 6 partners are a very wide range of the types of partners that we're looking for here. So we have everything from almost nationwide coverage to just a few counties. We have, a giant contractor network, and for example, Pearl has the Green Door app to go through suggestions on how they can make their house better, to direct installation, like air service professionals. Some are only market rate currently, and one is completely low and moderate income only. So we are very open to the different types of organizations out there that can function as a concierge. I will say we do have an approval process before partners get signed on. There are a couple currently in the approval process, but basically we will be looking at details of the uh, requirements that we put out for the participation. So how you make sure your installers are qualified, what your quality management system is, and everything like that. So we do have a basic application online, which the URL will be at the end of this presentation, that you can provide. And then once we just make sure that you are basically, cover multiple measures, we'll ask for more information on your quality management system and things like that. So it's not an automatic partnership. You do have to go through an approval process. Okay, if you can go to the next slide, please, Seth. All right, about this partnership, we do provide the national platform. As Energy Star is recognized throughout the country by a vast majority of Americans, as Dan had mentioned earlier. And we use that platform to encourage Americans to take action on the energy efficiency in their home. We also provide that platform and that recognition in some of the toolkits we have, which I'll go over a little bit, for our partners to use and take advantage. We also support braiding financial resources and best practices designed to make home upgrades more accessible to low-income households. As I noted, some of our charter partners are market rate only, and some are low income only, and some are trying for both. So what we're doing is we're helping those that are interested in increasing their offerings to the low income space to allow them to do that in the best possible way. We also facilitate information exchange and we connect partners that are implementing and promoting home upgrades. And we'll do that through a variety of different ways. We are planning on having some webinars. We have one-on-one conversations, and we do have stakeholder engagements. So one of the big ones is our Energy Star Products Partner Meeting, which is in September of this year, where a lot of our partners come and have side meetings with other partners, as well as a lot of information provided on the program and from other partners. It's a great learning opportunity. We also, so as I said, we allow you to leverage that network as a partner. And then we also assist in educating Americans on how to make their homes more energy efficient. So we do provide marketing, communications, program design, and help in other areas as well. Next slide, please. Thank you. To expand on some of the help that we provide for the low and moderate income space, what we do is we enhance the perceived values of the offerings of our partners by associating them with our widely recognized and trusted Energy Star label. We collaborate with other our partner organizations to identify priority consumer subsegments for tailored outreach, and we capitalize on ours and other organizations educational efforts and resources targeted to the low income and disadvantaged community market segment to create a better informed and more receptive customer base. Energy Star also provides some technical support designed to facilitate the braiding of the rebates, incentives, and services at a local level. One of these big things is we are having partnerships with some state energy offices. So we are in the know on how some of those rebate programs from the Inflation Reduction Act will be rolled out. So we are planning on providing support to all of our partners on how they can help implement those incentives. Next slide, please. So a little more on the low income. We do have roughly 39.5 million low income households that could benefit from these efficiency improvements. So a key to the equitable decarbonization plan for the residential market will be successful braiding of multiple funding streams, including the Inflation Reduction Act, state rebates, as well as utility rebates and things like that. And having a creative leveraging, excuse me, having creative leveraging across a range of funding sources is where we expect to be able to help out our partners. The Energy Star Home Upgrade Partnership will advance best practices and support emerging models that effectively combine available financial resources and programs to the benefit of low-income households. We also optimize available financing for these households that require market-specific integration of services that could benefit from leveraging Energy Star program relationships with utilities, state energy office, energy program implementers, and others. So if we could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So some of the information I mentioned earlier that we provide to partners to take advantage of our marketing platform and the recognition and trust that people have in the Energy Star program, one of which is the Service Provider Toolkit. So we have social media graphics and posts that are both for general, the Energy Star Home Upgrade, as well as product specific. So if your organization only provides 2 of the 5 services I mentioned, you can still use the graphics and posts we have. We also have this home upgrade checklist and electrification planning fact sheet that consumers can use to really think ahead on what they can do to enhance their house. As I said earlier, it's important to think ahead and not focus on last minute replacement where you just take anything off the back of the truck. And this toolkit helps with that. We also provided this logo lockup, this Energy Star Home upgrade with the little house attached to our logo, as our utilities had requested that to help with their labeling of some of their promotions that they've used along with the Energy Star Home upgrade platform. We also do have a home upgrade declaration sheet, which I'll show you in a minute. And then we also have an image library, which is constantly being updated with more images that are applicable for our products and our product categories that we talk about all the time. Next slide, please. All right, we also have the marketing toolkit, which is available to all of our partners. We have the social media graphics and posts. We have web banners and buttons and educational graphics that you can put up on your website or your promotions that get people interested in what you have to offer, given that their trust and their recognition of our Energy Star symbol. We also have home upgrade fact sheets that are available to provide to contractors and to homeowners to allow them to better understand the offerings available and the benefits to it, as well as how they can reduce costs with, the Inflation Reduction Act and other utility benefits. And then lastly, we have the home upgrade declaration sheet, which if you go to the next slide, you can see a sample of. Great. So here on the right is it's an example of our declaration sheet. One thing I will note is that we want to make it clear that the home upgrade is not a certification or a label for a home. We are not certifying a home to an Energy Star home upgrade standard. What we are doing is allowing customers to document what product upgrades they've had, that they have something with our trusty blue logo on it that shows that they are working toward a more efficient home, and that they can easily plan the future upgrades that are going to be happening. So it is not a certification. However, customers are able to see the progress they're making on their home. All right. And with that, I will turn it back over to Dan to talk about the tool that we've recently put out that helps with finding those rebates and incentives that are available for the Energy Star Home Upgrade products.
Thank you so much, Danielle. And you can take a breath now. Now I'm regretting not including a Steve Jobs "one more thing" slide in our presentation. But yes, we've got one more thing, as if that wasn't enough content. And before I jump into the home improvement savings tool, I just wanted to echo what Danielle said and say congratulations to our charter partners, our charter service provider partners. I know at least one is on this call. Might be a couple of others as well. I was trying to scan the attendee list quickly. So congratulations to them, and we're very excited about that. But then the one other quick note I wanted to make as well, just because I know it can be a little bit confusing. Danielle talked about the two kind of toolkits that we have. One, that marketing toolkit is really geared for our existing partners to help in their consumer messaging, whereas in the service provider toolkit is designed specifically for our service providers to help their organization and their contractor base engage in conversation with the homeowner. So kind of two different audiences between those two toolkits, in case anybody had questions about that. So yes, one more thing. We also wanted to talk just very briefly about our new home improvement savings tool. Folks may have seen the press release that went out about this back on May 30th, when we also announced our charter partners. We're very excited about this, obviously very relevant to the Energy Star Home Upgrade web tool. And so this is just a quick screen grab. I apologize for the visuals that you all are about to see here. Might be a little blurry or fuzzy, but basically direct pulls from our home improvement savings tool. And so this is kind of the entry and the landing point. And so what I was wanting to do over the next few slides basically was just kind of walk you through some of the information and some of the content that you would see if, as a user, you went into this home improvement savings tool. I'll just note at a high level, this obviously is a web-based resource, and it is zip code based as well. So we're trying to keep this as simple and as straightforward for a user as possible. Basically, they can go in, drop in their zip code, pick a particular product category, and these are obviously aligned to the measures that we have in the Energy Star Home Upgrade, and they'll be able to provide or find additional information. And I'll kind of talk through that over the next few slides. Next slide, please. So here, this is kind of a visual of what you would see, kind of the first step. So on the left-hand side, we're talking about the incentives that are available, some high-level information around income-based assistance and which products are eligible for incentives. And then that box that you see there, where a user can, like I said, drop in their zip code, select one of those products, and they can learn more. And so what we'll do is kind of walk through and see an example of what that might look like. So next slide. So let's say, for example, you had dropped in a zip code. I think that's a California zip code in the box there. If you had dropped in that zip code and you were looking at heat pump water heaters, so we'll look at heat pump water heaters as the example here. You'll see at the top, we've kind of got a little quick tax credit and rebate summary up there, highlighting basically the incentives available through the Inflation Reduction Act, some high-level information around the incentives available for this particular product. And the idea here is to be as comprehensive and as accurate while also not overwhelming the user with information. There's a lot of potential confusion and a lot of confusion, to be frank, in the marketplace right now around these products. And so we want to do our part to help relieve some of those issues and some of those concerns by providing this comprehensive resource here. Next slide, Seth. So this is now, again, looking at that same zip code and again, looking at the heat pump water heater, the different types of information that you would see. So we did some research and collected some information around typical project costs. We're looking at a range here, trying to be, again, balance accuracy with simplicity on the consumer facing side. And then you can see the user would be able to see those state rebates, tax credits, and any potential utility rebates that would be available in their area as well, again, based on the zip code added. Obviously, if they're in a state where the state rebate program is not live yet, that would not be available to them, or we would have something that says coming soon. Tax credits obviously are not zip code dependent, so that would be applicable based on whatever product has been selected. And then on the utility rebate front, and I think a lot of folks on the phone are very familiar with this, but it's actually Seth and a number of his colleagues on the ICF team that support Energy Star that do a data collection effort on a regular basis to coordinate with our utility partners and others to collect the rebates that get fed into this system. And so if you have any questions or if you'd like to learn more about that process, you can get in touch with me or Danielle or Seth. I think as Danielle noted, we've got our contact information on the last slide here, and we will certainly send that out to all registered attendees for this webinar. But that is how we collect that information. Energy Star partners with hundreds of utilities across the country, and we coordinate regularly with them to collect incentive programs as they are developed or as they are revised over time. Next slide, please. So on the next couple of slides, what I wanted to highlight was some of the additional information that's available via the home savings improvement tool. Obviously, the real kind of key consideration are the rebates and incentives that users are able to locate and find, we think, relatively easily and in a relatively straightforward fashion. In addition to that, though, because we recognize how valuable and important these other items can be, we've also got things like our qualified product list kind of built into or with links included in the home improvement savings tool. So again, we're sticking with the heat pump water heater as the example here. So through that home improvement savings tool, if you are looking for products that certify, whether it's for the tax credit or whether it's for the state rebate programs. You can see those products through our product finder as well. And again, that is our goal with both the Energy Star Home Upgrade web tool, as Danielle noted, and with the Home Improvement Savings tool, is to be as comprehensive as possible and ensure that consumers have a relatively seamless and straightforward experience with the information that we're expecting them to look for. And on the next slide, I think we've got another example of that, and I think heat pump water heaters are a really good example because my colleagues and our team have done a really good job of creating a heat pump water heater installer finder. This is the kind of most fully fleshed out version of an installer finder that we have for the relevant Energy Star Home Upgrade products. We are in the process of building out additional installer finders and working with some of the folks that are on this call to build that out. But this is an example of, again, taking the consumer kind of on that spectrum of awareness building, raising education, to helping them find that qualified installer or contractor. And qualified is a very key word there. We want to make sure that the consumer has a positive experience with the organization, whether that's on the contractor side or on the retailer side, that they're going to get this product in their home. So again, this home improvement savings tool, in addition to being a kind of one-stop shop for rebates and incentives, also allows users to access our qualified product lists as well as our installer finders, and we will continue to build those out, as I noted, for other product areas as well. Next slide. All right, and then in addition to the home savings tool itself, we've also created a number of resources, and these are really geared kind of towards our partners and towards our stakeholders. So it's things like toolkits and flyers and fact sheets and digital graphics. So if you have interest, the organizations that you work with have interest in promoting this home savings tool, these resources help you kind of understand and share the message as to what it is and how to use it. And also allows you to have an easier conversation potentially with the folks that you're sharing this information with, whether it's the contractors that you're training, the consumers that you're talking to. These resources are designed to simplify a little bit kind of what the home savings tool is and how it can be useful. A lot of the same information that I could just kind of talk through on this webinar, but in these formats, and so toolkits and flyers and fact sheets and things like that. So it's a whole lot easier to be shared. Next slide, which I think is our very last slide. And so I also just wanted to note real quickly, again, relevant and very related to the topics that we talked about today. We have also been spending a lot of time developing resources, in particular around tax credits. As I'm sure the majority of folks are aware, for a number of products, the tax credit criteria is aligned to Energy Star. In some cases, like in the HVAC space, there's a slightly different criteria. And so we want to be able to provide, like I said at the very top of the presentation, that credible, unbiased information around tax credits to be able to help both consumers and the contractors and service providers that are working with us on information that helps get that information to the consumer. So we've got things right now like qualified product lists that are pre-filtered to equipment that is eligible for the tax credits. So that's kind of the first step that we took. And then we also have additional resources, and we should actually update this slide. No longer in development. We actually have these live and up on our website now. Things like fact sheets on the tax credits for particular products. Again, a fairly digestible and easy to share piece of content that can be used in training, in contractor conversations, as well as engaging on the consumer front as well. And so if you visit our tax credit page, we've got a hyperlink on these slides. Again, we'll share the whole slide deck after the presentation. You can take a look at that information, and we will continue to build out that information and continue to refine that content as either the tax credits criteria are refined over time, or there's additional asks or needs from our stakeholders and partners that we're working with in this space. So next, and I think last slide, Seth. Thank you very much. So as both Danielle and I mentioned, our contact information is here. Please feel free to reach out to us. We will obviously have time for Q&A, so happy to talk through any questions that folks have right now. And then we also have links to our service provider partnership page, our Energy Star Home Upgrade web tool, and our home savings tool. So we encourage you to take a look at that. And we also encourage any and all feedback. We want to make this as useful and valuable to our partners and stakeholders as possible. As one of my colleagues likes to joke, we encourage stealing, but stealing is only going to occur if our information is relevant. And so with that, I will pause there. And I think, Seth, if I'm correct, we can open it up to Q&A.
Yeah, real quick before we get into the Q&A, I realized we didn't mention that we do have a list of our service providers available on our website. It is connected to our Energy Star Home Upgrade consumer tool. So as consumers are looking through that tool to see, to see about the home upgrade, they can go to our list of current service providers. Right now, that just includes the logo, the name, what area they are located and have services in, and what type of services they do provide. In the future, as we get more service provider partners, we are looking to create a finder, just like Dan had noted. We have like an water heater in heat pump water heater installer finder. We're going to create a service provider partner finder where you can put in the zip code and which measure or measures a consumer is looking for, and it will pop up with the applicable partners. So I just wanted to put that in there because I think we forgot that important little tidbit.
Great point, Danielle. Thank you.
So if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We will try and get to them. Someone just asked if the slide deck will be available. We are going to post this recording for this webinar online, and I can follow up with folks with the deck itself. Then we also have a question from someone asking, is there any marketing material for the Canadian market?
Ooh, great question. We do not have any content relevant specific to the Canadian market at this time. I think a lot of the resources and content that we have in the marketing toolkit would likely be valuable. But if there is interest in kind of specific regional content, we'd certainly be happy to have that conversation to understand and learn more.
Mm-hmm. And then Julie sent in a comment that I think that both of you can respond to. First saying there's so much to love here, which is great. And then saying there are two issues that give me pause. One is the financial promise. Customers are told that switching to a heat pump will save money, but it might increase their bills. And we don't want to overpromise. And then another concern is the vetting of contractors, which can be very difficult. Is there any thoughts that you two want to share about either of those concerns from partners or customers?
Yeah, so I can jump in here real quick. One of the notes, thank you for those, on the financial promises is we are very aware of this concern. I believe you brought it up to us quite a while ago when we first talked. But one thing that we have included in our application process and review of the service provider partners is that they are not allowed to provide promises for financial, gains or anything like that, unless they really do have data to back up that information. So if there is a possibility of, negative impacts on your energy bill, we do encourage our partners and their contractors to note that that is a possibility, but we do not allow them to promise that you will save this much money if that's not backed up by anything. We are also aware that vetting of the contractors can be very difficult. We do have our integrity team working with the applicants to determine that they have the process in place to make sure, number one, that the contractors, have their insurance covered, and they have some sort of basic contractor training. And there are other, I believe it's PNNL is creating a training that could be very helpful in determining which contractors have the appropriate vetting. But I will let Dan jump in.
Yeah, thanks, Danielle. I'll hold off on too much on that front as we
Mhm.
kind of figure out what that exact path looks like. But yeah, Julie, I think the short answer to the question is those are some of the main areas that we're hoping to address via the service provider partnership and via the program requirements that we've put in place for these service providers. It's not as simple as fill out an application, send it in, and now you're a partner. We've got I think as our charter partners on the phone will tell you, a fairly comprehensive process in terms of understanding and evaluating the organizations that are looking to join. We are really focused on quality over quantity right now, again, looking to address those exact concerns that you've outlined. And I would also just note, because I was reading through your comment as well, if local partners could customize dollars and contractors, be interested in talking more about that. But that is, again, I hate to overuse these two words, but that flexible, scalable approach that I mentioned previously, that really is what we're trying to do with this Energy Star home upgrade and with the service provider partnership. We want the home upgrade itself to be a flexible platform that can be kind of incorporated on top of existing programs, and the service provider partnership allows us to leverage the expertise of these organizations that are doing the work in specific areas of the country, so we can start to customize and leverage the knowledge and expertise of these new partners with Energy Star.
Yeah, and I will say, if you have thoughts on any of these topics, feel free to share them with us. We are more than happy to hear any suggestions that you, Julie, or anyone else on this call has.
Great. Okay, I think those are all the questions we have in the chat. One person did ask that they think that their organization might qualify as a partner, but is curious about eligibility. If you have any questions about your organization specifically and whether they fit availability, feel free to email us and we can take a look and have more of a conversation about it than what's just on our website as far as qualifications. Andrew specifically, who asked about that, I will follow up with you afterwards so we can email more. So those are all of our questions. Dan, Danielle, I don't know if you have anything else you want to wrap on.
Yeah, I'll just say thank you all for taking the time. We recognize that everyone probably has very busy schedules, and so we appreciate your time and patience as we walk through a lot of content and a lot of information. As Seth noted, and as I just said, it was a lot of content and information. So if you'd like to schedule some additional time with Danielle and I, we're very open to having those conversations, getting more into the weeds to discuss how we could partner and work together as we go forward.